everybody. My name's Mark Hilliard, and this evening we are doing Jennifer Hunter's Level 4 Critique. Oh boy, I am so excited. I've looked at her work, and I've had an opportunity to get to know her and where she's at in her skill set and what drives her deepest, darkest emotional thoughts about photography. Having said that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Jennifer, and if you would tell us a bit about yourself and your thoughts on the Arcanum and your thoughts on this L4 critique, and then we'll jump right in, okay?
You bet. Well, my name is Jennifer Hunter. I have been doing photography since college. That's when I took a black and white photography course doing film, and I fell in love with photography then, and I've just kind of done it on and off throughout the years. Whenever I traveled, I would take photos, or when I had kids, I started really enjoying taking photos of them, and I've done second shooting for a local wedding photographer in Santa Cruz a few times. I've worked with her. I've done some events. I like to do landscapes and macros, and I like to give texture and depth, and I also enjoy doing some digital art as well, where you're doing a lot of layering and compositing with different elements. But I haven't done much of that lately, but it is something I enjoy doing. I started using Photoshop, gosh, back in 1994, I think. So I've used Photoshop for quite a few years, but there's always something to learn, and I'm not an expert by any means, but I did grow up on Photoshop, I guess you could say. And the Arcanum, I've been an admirer of Trey Ratcliffe's work for quite a long time, and a friend of mine who's a photographer in Denver joined the Arcanum a few months ago, and she told me about it, and I was like very excited when I found out about it, and so I decided it was the right time for me to join and further develop my skill set and reignite my passion for photography, because I kind of went through a bit of a lull earlier this year where I just took a break, and so I'm excited to be excited again and have something to work toward, and goals to work toward, and eventually I'd like to have some fine art photography that I could market.
That's always a good destination. That truly is. And there isn't any reason why you can't achieve that relatively quickly. Okay. As far as your black and white course in college, that couldn't have been that long ago.
Well, actually, it was quite a while ago, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's jump right into it then.
Okay.
I'm going to share my desktop with you. Here we go. And I am going to bring up Photoshop CC 2015, and we're going to jump immediately into your first photograph. Please tell me what you were thinking as you were standing there looking at this scene and what you desired to capture.
Okay. Well, I actually went out with a group of photographers one morning. This is the Walton Lighthouse in Santa Cruz, and it was my first attempt at sunrise photography and my first attempt at trying to do a slow shutter photography. I had no idea really what I was doing, but I wanted to try and capture a sort of a creamy water texture. Didn't quite do it, but I did learn about neutral density filters at that shoot, and I also learned about I can't remember what they're called, but they're the things you put in your flash mount where you can go to a bulb setting so that you can have a longer exposure. So
a wireless remote shutter release.
Yes, thank you. the technical term. um, in any event, I felt like this particular image, I did get a star in the sky. It's pretty faint up there, but it's there, and I like the way the light was shining inside of the lighthouse.
The light room up here in the top and the windows as well?
Yes, exactly. And that was my raw image. As you can see, it was a little bit dingier, not quite as well lit.
That's all right. Don't worry about your raw image. I'm just looking at the data.
Oh, okay, at the data. So I think, I don't even remember what settings I used, but it looks like I did have ISO 100, which was a good starting point, although I did find out that my particular full-frame camera, that it's a Sony A99, it does go down to 50, which is great. And I don't know if the f-stop was high enough. It looks like I shot it at 11.
Yep, f11 at 4 seconds.
Yeah. So yeah, 4 seconds obviously is not going to give you the creamy water effect.
Yeah, but it was enough to slow it down and smooth it out.
Yeah, yeah. But I like the composition of the piece, the way, you know, the silhouette against the morning sky and the lights and the star in the sky. So.
Okay. Well.
And I got rid of a couple of buoys that were in the water that were kind of annoying.
Okay.
But.
Would you clarify something for me? I've been to a lighthouse down in Santa Cruz, and I don't remember this as being the one that I saw. Is there two there?
Not in Santa Cruz proper, no. This is the one that's at the harbor by the Crow's Nest.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the one at the harbor. There is a lighthouse that is north of on Highway 1 a little bit. It's actually past Davenport, I believe.
Do you remember the name of that one?
Not off the top of my head. It's a hostel as well as a lighthouse, that particular one.
All right. You and I are going to talk about that a little bit more. I was just there a month ago looking for lighthouses, and I don't remember this one. That being said,
yeah.
Let's see here. We're on the West Coast, so this must be sunset.
No, it was sunrise.
Okay. East. Amazing colors for a sunrise out west. I will give you that. Very good composition. The thing I like about the composition specifically is you've placed the horizon on the lower 1/3 line. You have this diagonal that is actually working out to be a C curve from the lower left and coming across and then straight across, and I'm able to pick up just a bit of the ocean through the break wall here. Okay, and you're right. The lights showing through the window are amazing. That is a really good capture. Now, did you wait until the light in the lamp house flashed on when you took this picture? Or is this just, I mean, it's not real bright, but yet I can see that there's something here?
I wish that I could say yes, but no. It was just kind of luck of the draw.
All right, did you actually put the camera down and stand back and watch that light?
I had my tripod, so I was, you know, I was just afraid of losing the light altogether, or the sky, because, you know, it happens so quick that the colors change and the light changes. So
okay.
I took a few shots, but I know that the beacon was flashing on and off.
Okay. Well, I would have loved it if you had captured that with the beacon on.
That would be nice.
And with a really long exposure, I'm talking minutes, where that beacon comes on and off dozens of times, these breaks in the glass panes of the lighthouse
Mm-hmm.
would create beams or rays of light coming out from each of these window panes.
Ah, that would be
But
cool.
it requires a very long exposure in order to do that.
Okay.
Now, you're also in the blue hour here. The sun is not up. It's getting close because we're starting to get that solid line of reds and oranges and yellows going straight across the horizon. Okay. I do like the fact that you captured this in the blue hour. I love long exposures with dark blue in the sky, graduating down into lighter colors here. And then as we get closer to the horizon, we get more and more color. Okay. Should you decide that you like this type of work enough, I will teach you how specific filters can bring this out even more. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This was a good capture. I do like the fact that this lower horizon's on the 1/3 line, but this might be an optical illusion. Let's see. Let's put a straight line across the horizon. Yeah, I was going to say that horizon did not look straight, but point of fact, it is straight. You see how I tested that here?
Yep.
Okay. So that was a very, very good job. A little bit longer shutter speed would have smoothed this out even more and given you a better reflection off the surface.
Mm.
You really need to get that effect. You really need to go for a minimum of 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I tend to like 4 minutes even better.
Oh, wow.
But when you're working with exposures that are that long, you're dealing with 8 minutes of camera time, a 4-minute exposure, and then 4 minutes of dark frame noise reduction in camera. So a 4-second or a 4-minute exposure becomes an 8-minute exposure till you can do your next one. So you've got to be, you've got to have your aperture, your shutter speed, everything set correctly, because you're only going to get to do 2 or 3 of these before you lose the light. Now, I do like the fact that you have captured a star, and I'm going to guess that this is indeed not a star, that this is more likely a planet since it's so bright as the sun is coming up. But as a single white point in the sky with no other white points in there for reference, this becomes distracting.
Okay.
So I would consider removing that.
Okay.
Now, if you are trying to tell a story about the star beacon down here as reference to a single star in the sky, then what you need to do is enhance this.
Okay.
And there are filters that you can use as plugins to Photoshop that will add a starburst here. And add a starburst here. And probably one on each of these, but you can paint them out where you don't want starbursts.
Okay.
So that would be another interesting compositional modification that you can make. And I want you to notice that this is very oblong. This is not.
Yeah.
Okay. So this might not actually be a planet. This might be something way up high. This might be a satellite or the space station. Okay. Because if you look at it at where it is in conjunction with the sun rising, it is catching that light and reflecting it right at you. Okay, so having said that, let me go down here. And let's make this more circular, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And bring out more light here. And I'm just using the dodge tool. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm doing, and it's not going to be very big. All right, that's enough of that for now. Just to highlight it a wee bit more. Okay? I'd also like to, we're going to come back and revisit this a little bit later on, okay?
Okay.
I'd like to talk to you about this foreground.
Okay.
This is so dark and formless
Mm-hmm.
that it becomes a big black hole.
Okay.
That draws your eyes away from the image. I mean, yes, I see the lighthouse. I see the wonderful colors and the water and that deep blue sky. My eyes enter here, and they go out to the lighthouse, up, down, and then right here, and I stop dead here every time. This is where I'm drawn to, this big, dark expanse.
Okay.
So for this image, if I might make some suggestions for processing, do you have the Nik filter set?
Yes.
Oh, goody, goody.
I love it.
We're going to do some real simple things here for you.
Okay.
I'm not even going to put a control point on this picture. I am just going to go over here to shadow adjustments. I'm going to bump this up to the positive till I just get some form. See that?
Yep.
Just a little bit of form. Now, yes, it is affecting the rest of the picture. I don't care about that one bit of. Okay?
Okay.
Now I'm going to go back, and I'm going to put an anchor point here in the sky, and I'm going to fill the screen with that so that any other edits that we do not affect this blue area. And I'm going to copy this to this dark area over here as well. Then I would like you to consider this wonderful color here. This is spectacular, don't you think?
Yes.
Well, what if we do something just like this? We'll drop a control point right there in that, and we will bump the saturation up just a wee bit, okay? I want to bring out the reds there, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to expand it. Watch what happens when I expand this. Okay? It did this entire horizon. It brought out more of the reds and the yellows and the oranges. Okay? And just for a play, yeah, we're going to move this over here as well, and let's try dropping one. No, we don't need it in the yellow. That's too much. Just something just to pump up the colors a little bit where that sun's at. But we should also be seeing that here as a reflection in the water.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just drop a control point there and do the same thing. We'll bump the saturation up so that we just pick up those colors in the water. And I'm going to put one over here and one over here. Now I'm going to select all three of those, okay? And then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to say group those control points together. So one adjustment works on everything. And then I'm going to take my stroke control, which is micro contrast sharpening. I'm going to take it all the way down to -100. Just to add a bit more smoothness to the surface of that water, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I see that we need to do that here as well. So let me bump the saturation up to match where we were. And then take that structure and go all the way down. Okay? And that is basically all that you need to do. The big thing is to have some bit of structure here in this dark area so that our eyes aren't drawn to it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Bump up the colors in the sky a bit. That might be a bit too much. Let me let's back that off just a little bit. There we go. And then say OK, and then we're going to look at a before and after version of that, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's the original. There's the modified. Do you see what a difference it makes having a detail in here so that we can see, well, there's a path or a road here. We could come out, we can walk right down to that light.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Now, just for a bit of fun, I think we have enough light in that star now. Let's go down into a filter. And it's from Topaz, and it's called Star Effects. And right off the bat, you're not going to like what it does.
Okay.
Okay, I guarantee you. Okay. I am going to come in, and I'm going to adjust stars only. Yep, see, it's picked up where the sun's coming up. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to paint on I'm going to tell it that I want to remove that. See, we don't want a star there where the sun's at. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at the combined image again. The sky is back to where we were, and now I want to show this. There we go. Okay, and I want to show the lighthouse beacon. Okay, that's too much, but we can make an adjustment there. Okay, so let's go look here at our main adjustment. By changing the threshold, we change what the filter sees for stars. And I'm going to take this threshold down and make sure that there's nothing else in there that's being captured that I don't want captured. Luminance is going to change the color of the starlight, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the brightness of it. So let's right about there. The number of points, of course, is the number of radials coming off. It actually looked pretty good where we were.
Mm-hmm.
The spread, this is how much it spreads out. Okay. And let's look at the number of points. There we go. The size of the starburst. There we go. And let's go back up here and let's take out a little bit from the lighthouse, because that's just, heck, let's just make that all go away. Okay. Then we'll go back down to the main adjustments. We can do color adjustments. The temperature of the white for the starburst, we can adjust that. If we go from NC to we're into the blues. We'll go to the other end, we're into the reds. So you can just pick what you think looks right for that. Do we want rainbow colors or not? The answer is no, we don't. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really interesting little plug-in, don't you think?
Yeah, it is.
And like I said, if you wanted to tell a story about these two beacons in the sky, then you need to enhance this beacon up here. Okay, so that it's not just a singular bright spot.
Gotcha.
And you could play with this till you were sick of it, all right?
Yeah.
But there is a lot here.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can do things like add secondary points which would correspond to the number of aperture blades in the lens that you were using at the time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much here that you can play with. Let's just say apply. We'll go with what we've got. It's going to create a layer with that in it. And it's going to drop us right back into Photoshop. Okay, so here it is without it, which is the white spot. Oh, boring, right?
Yeah.
And the star.
Wow.
Okay, and like I said, if we went in here and we brightened up this light and changed it from blue to white,
Mm-hmm.
We could also do star burst rays coming out of this lighthouse as well.
That's cool.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, part of the level 4 critique, aside from telling you or sharing with you what I feel are the strengths and weaknesses of your image, for level 4 and the level 9, I like to go through and show you how to do some of these edits, not just for you, but for the other cohort members who are watching. There's a lot that we can learn here together. I love the image. I love how you worked it. I am going to give you a 2.5 score on this. I cannot go 3 because that black area was just too totally distracting. Everything else that I gave you in terms of editing suggestions are simply that. They're just suggestions for your consideration. So what did you think about adding that starburst up there, though?
That really makes the whole thing sort of pop, I think. I like it a lot.
Well, and it tells more of a story.
Oops, sorry, Kurt. Yeah, it does. It definitely tells more of a story. It's not just a... It's not... And it really... Yeah, it tells a story and makes it a more interesting composition.
Yeah. All right. Very good job on this. I love this, and you are going to have to tell me where this is and how I can get to it, because I'll be going to California again after Christmas.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah, my son lives in Palo Alto, so we have.
Oh, nice.
Or not Palo Alto, Mountain View. Okay, so let's go on to your next one. Tell me about this family shot.
Well, I took a few different shots of them. They were having a blast that day, and I just happened to capture that image of all of their expressions. When I got rid of the hose and cropped in a little bit tighter and brightened up the door texture a little bit, I just thought that it was an awesome family photo because it kind of captured the personalities of each one of the family members, because the girl who's actually looking at the camera is very shy. The mom is always she's laughing about something all the time. The daughter who's in the back is very much like her dad, and you can tell that she's sort of like what are you guys laughing about? You know, I don't know. I loved it. I just loved the expressions on their faces.
I agree with you. This is a good family story. I had a little bit different reading on it, having just sat down and viewed the image earlier. I see this public yet private moment passing between the husband and wife. They are obviously centered. I mean, look at their eyes. They're centered on each other, right? They're laughing and they're having a good time at somebody's expense. And the daughters are going, oh, God, when is this ever going to end? Dad, you are embarrassing me so much. And the daughter in the front, who's obviously closer to the mother.
Yes.
This girl's closer to the father. The one up front is going, oh, come on, haven't you taken enough pictures? Get out of my face.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It tells a really good story. Now, I just went and I looked at the raw image a moment ago, as you saw.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I did that was twofold. You have crowded daddy's feet here.
Ah.
All right, there's not enough room here.
Okay.
I keep worrying that something's going to come in and chop that toe off.
Okay.
Okay? And I wanted to see if you had room to come in and add a little bit more space. Even if you could just go out this far where my mouse is,
Mm-hmm.
that would be enough to keep this from being a point of contention in the image.
Gotcha.
The other thing that I looked at is I was looking at angles. This picture is not straight.
Mm.
If you look at this line here, this is going uphill.
But what about the door? The door looks straight.
But also look at the downspout. It's
Yeah.
in the same direction as is the window casings. Yes, the door looks straight, but something's out of kilter.
The house is out of kilter.
And it's going to be a compromise for you to decide what the level point is and to where to go with it.
Gotcha.
I'm not saying that the way you did it is bad. I'm saying that there's all kinds of inconsistencies in the house.
Yes.
And it's going to be a struggle to choose. Personally, I feel that having this line here straight is probably in better taste. Okay, the window line.
Yeah.
The composition is wildly good. The picture tells a true story. Just as the dad's feet are too tight, the mom's feet are too tight on the bottom here, you are actually cropping through her shoe.
Oops.
Whatever space you have here, you need to have here.
Okay.
All right. Now you could take a little bit of space away on this side of mom.
Okay.
And center the family up a wee bit more, but that's such small considerations. But in an effort to improve our art, it's these small things that add up really quick. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, look at the histogram. This picture is basically underexposed about a stop.
Okay.
The first thing that I would like to suggest to you, whatever editing tool you choose, I'm just going to go for Vivisa again because it's so dang easy. No control points or anything. I'm just going to increase the exposure about a stop. That's it, right about there. Not much, 13%. Okay. I want to make her top white. Now this is off-white, but it's brightened it up. It's brightened up everything about this image. And then I think in order to further separate the people from the bricks that they're sitting on, I would go in right here and put a control point on that brick, and I would just ever so slightly bump up the saturation, maybe 20%.
Okay.
And then expand that to go over the whole picture, knowing that it's going to affect her skin. That's okay. I don't mind that. And I'm also going to I'm going to leave the brightness right about on the bricks, right about plus 2%. Then I'm going to go put an anchor point on her skin to bring her skin back to where it should be, okay? And I'm going to put one on her arm and her hand and her shoulder, her face, and his face. Okay? Now, you had told me that you bumped up the textures in the door. I say to you, not nearly enough.
Okay.
Let's don't do anything but add structure. Let's just wildly enhance that door. And I'm going to put one of these points in every single pane. Okay?
Uh-huh.
I want that door to further isolate itself from this young girl here, but yet the door is such a major component of this family grouping that it needs to be treated as a fifth member of the family, if you will.
Uh-huh.
We're going to say okay to that. And we are going to look at the before and after. Here's the before. And there's the after. And you see what brightening up that, and look at the histogram. See it shift over a stop?
Yeah.
Just that little change was enough to give this image that oomph over the edge of being a really great image to being a spectacular family image. Okay?
Yeah.
Just that simple. Minor editing. Easily done. More space here.
Mm-hmm.
More space here. Less space on this side.
So cutting the window is not a concern.
I don't care too much about that window. Let's just look and see what it does.
I guess it doesn't really have any effect.
Nope, none whatsoever. But whatever space you put here, you need here and down here as well, okay?
Yep.
This cropping now is more reminiscent of a medium format image, 6x7 format, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I like this. This was spectacularly well conceived. The young girl's expressions are priceless. They are the real heroes of this image. The editing changes that I have suggested to you are minor, but yet will add that little extra push for the image. I'm going to give you a 3 for this.
Thank you.
This is exceptionally well planned and executed. But you've got the room here. I think you have the room under her too. Let's look real quick. Yeah, you do. See?
Okay.
But whatever we do here, then we're going to do here and here, okay?
Yep.
Okay. Gee whiz. I wish I'd been lucky enough to get a family shot like that. Oh, okay. Tell me about this one, please.
The bee?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I have this. I was taking pictures of bees on these flowers, just seeing if I could do it, really, because I find it really challenging to capture insects, and I love macro, and so this was kind of I wouldn't. I think I've tried it before, but I was never successful. But it was one of my, I haven't done tons of photos of bees.
Oh, the subject isn't so much important. Just that you would go out and attempt to do it.
Yeah, I love macro because you're seeing things in a different perspective than you would if you're just randomly looking at it through your normal eyes, and to me it's fun to see the details of life that's actually in front of you that you don't normally pay attention to.
Okay. All right, so you shot this at f4 at 1/60th of a second, or 1/160th of a second. Okay. That's good. Well, let's start off with the positives of this. The colors of the flowers are simply amazing. That you shot at f4 and you had this wonderful bokeh in the background is very appealing to me. I like the effect of the colors, the purples against the greens. But having said that, I have to ask you some serious questions about this.
Okay.
You obviously envision the bee as your main subject, correct?
Mm-hmm.
When I look at this, I see an image where your desired main subject blends into the background.
Mm.
It is hard, if not impossible, to separate the two.
Okay.
I look at this image as way too flat, with no discernible subject, and way too much distracting elements all around the bee.
Okay.
Okay? Having said that, what you needed to do was to get closer. Now, what lens did you shoot this with?
That's a good question.
Here, I'll look.
I don't remember.
Let's see here. 28 to 75. Do you have a longer lens?
Yes, I do now.
Okay.
I have a 7200. I actually have a 7210 rather, with a macro on it.
And when you say with a macro, what exactly do you mean?
It's a Minolta lens that has it's f4 and it has macro. It has
capability. So it has built-in extension tubes through the helical focusing arrangement. Okay. Do you know if it'll do 1-to-1, or it's probably not? It probably is going to get down to 1-to-2 to 1-to-3 image ratio. But even that would have been more than enough. I would also like you to consider, along with using the Minolta lens, is getting yourself a close-up diopter filter, which is nothing more than a fancy magnifying glass that you screw onto the end of your lens that will, a lot of people call them butterfly adapters, because you can chase butterflies around and still manual focus with them, but get way closer.
Okay.
Okay. I like to suggest the Canon 500D close-up adapter. It comes in about 6 different filter sizes, so you're going to find one, if not for your lens exactly, one that'll be very close with a step up. Okay. And what it does, the 500D is what's known as a +2 diopter lens. A +2, what that does is, what that tells you is it sets your infinity focus point much closer. A +1 would set the infinity focus point at 1 meter. A +2 is a half of a meter, and so on. Okay? So that means that you can get down much, much closer to the insect with a longer lens and get a better close-up or macro image. All right?
Yep.
And you will love the combination of that close-up diopter filter on the lens. It's such a powerful component.
That sounds great.
Now, given what we have here, okay, we can't go back and reshoot this. What I'm going to suggest to you is a recrop.
Okay.
Okay, something like this. All right? Something that's going to make that be your main subject point. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And then that we've done this, by the way, this is beautifully sharp. Excellent job getting that done.
Thanks.
And then once you've done that, go grab yourself a cup of Ivisa and put in a dash of yellow on these stripes.
Mm.
Okay, we're going to do that. We're going to up the structure. Okay, I'm going to make sure I am on that stripe where I need to be. There we go. I'm going to add some saturation. Ooh, I like what that does. All right. Now, how do we get yellow? Well, we can add red. Then we add a little bit of green. Okay. And then we may need to take away some blue.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. What a difference.
Oh, just that simple. All right, and then we're going to copy that around this little guy, and we're going to leave this area really warm toned. Okay, we're not going to change that. And I'm going to go back here and I'm going to put an anchor point around him so that our addition of warm tones doesn't detract from him. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And just that simply, we went from an image that your subject was lost to the point that we were wondering exactly what the subject is, to an image that has an in your face, I am a bee and I am what you're chasing. Honor me. Okay?
Yep.
And it's just that easy. This post-processing, this is really, really easy stuff to do. And once you've done this once or twice, you'll say, "Oh my goodness, why haven't I done this?" And you're going to go back and you're going to revisit all of your library of old photos. Okay. Now with this crop, this flower down here is mildly distracting,
Mm-hmm.
not too terribly. You could put a control point here and add negative structure. Come on, Mark, grab it. Yeah, see what that does? That tends to hide that even more. Softens it. And
Nice.
we're just going to copy this around. And if in the end you find it still too soft or still too much, it's still too distracting, then we could let's group these points. We could do something like we could try decreasing the saturation of that a bit, not a lot, just a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you still want to maintain a little purple, but make it not quite as in your face. We'll say okay to that for now. We'll let Vivisa do its thing. We're going to look at the before and after, okay? There's the before. There's the after. The B becomes the center point. And this becomes less. And you may even want to go in here.
And clone that out or something.
Either that or put a soft filter in it in Nick.
Oh, okay.
Clone it out, or use the healing brush to go over it to soften the edges. Okay?
Uh-huh.
So that, my dear, is my suggestion for this image. And you got to admit, that is a big change. Let's get out of your raw images. Let's go back to these. Okay, and it's this one. Let me. Versus this, and there's a big difference.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Okay, and you saw how simply we did that. Now, in the future, you're going to want to get this close to the subject if he'll let you.
Mhm.
What did you say your new lens was? 210?
Yeah, 70 to 10.
Okay, that's going to give you enough latitude that you can still stay far enough away from the bee not to scare him and do this in camera.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yep.
Do you agree with what I've shown you here on this
Oh,
image?
absolutely. Absolutely. That totally makes it makes the image pop and brings it to life. Because when I look at the before and the after, there's the before is just like blah, and now it's like wow, it, it's
Okay.
it's really just those simple changes and edits make such a difference.
Yeah, it is. And it's also the viewpoint. I mean, you're looking at it through the viewfinder as the photographer. I'm looking at it as a potential art buyer with a critical eye.
That's
Okay?
awesome. Thank you.
All right. Talk about the boy here, please.
Yes, this is my son, and he needed a photo for a school project, and so I just was taking some headshots of him
Okay.
one afternoon, and I liked the framing of this one. I like the composition, and I liked that he was looking right at me in the camera, and I liked the texture of his hair, and it just you know I just
Okay.
I
Come on, Mom. You're going to like everything about him.
well there I mean I just thought it was a good photo of him.
Okay. Well, it is. It's a very pleasing photo of the young man. I like
and
his
and
expression.
I like it better in black and white than I did in color, and just because I feel like there was more texture to his hair in black and white, or it's not even true. It's not even true black and white. It's more of a sort of an off. It's a
Yeah.
little muted, but
Everything is better in black and white.
yes, I
Okay.
think so.
The exposure is dead on. You could not have gotten that any better. Um, the facial expression that you've captured is priceless. It's a really good portrait of your son. There are a couple issues with this image that I'm going to have.
Okay.
Again, they're minor and they're so easily corrected.
Okay.
Let's go back into bridge again. Oh, oh, come on, Mark, bring my bridge back up. I want to go into the raw images and I want to look at this. Now, I see what you've done here and why you did it. You wanted this dark area cropped out, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's keep that foremost in our mind when we look at this. Now, I would like you to turn your critical eye to this image. There are two things about this that bother me. One is a big thing and one is a little thing.
Okay.
Well, maybe three things. Two are little things and one is a big one. Can you tell me what they are?
Well, I know one thing is the outlet in the back in the corner next to the dresser.
Yep, clone that out.
Yes, I should have cloned that out. Um, and maybe the way I cropped the image on the right, there's a little darkness.
No, that not even that bothers me.
That doesn't bother you? I don't know what the other thing is.
All right, his eyes are too dark. Yeah, you've got slight catch lights, but
I tried to lighten those up a little bit, but I wasn't very successful.
all right, I'll show you how to do that real quick.
Oh, good.
And the other thing is the young man is leaning out of the frame. He looks like he's going to fall over right out.
Probably was.
Okay.
Probably was going to fall over.
Now, if we go back and we look at the raw image, you didn't take it that way.
Okay.
Now, you did bullseye him, but that gives you room to work.
Okay.
What we need is see the center line of his face here?
Yes.
We need that shifted to right here.
Okay.
This whole shoulder can go away.
Okay.
All right. Now, I realize that you cannot crop that and achieve that and have this dark area here, which would be a catastrophe of biblical proportion.
Okay.
Okay. Having said that, one of the things that we need to do as a photographer when we're doing this type of work is slow down a little.
Mm.
And when we're looking to the viewfinder, you need to police the edges of your image. You know automatically that this is going to ruin it because this is just too dark.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You also know that you've made him in the bullseye when he really should be shifted over here on the 1/3 line.
Okay.
So that he's looking into the frame, not looking to fall out of it.
I see what you're saying.
And we cannot do that with this image.
Okay.
There's no amount of editing that we're going to do that's going to fix this dark area here and make it look normal. So having said that, and given that you were the one standing there behind the camera, and I can't reach out and smack you in the hand and say, reposition yourself. Take the image from a different angle and get that dark area out of it.
Okay.
Which is what should have happened when you were taking the shot. Okay? Now
Gotcha.
this is a learned skill. This doesn't happen overnight. We've gone through it on the critique. Now that when you're looking through the viewfinder, you're going to have this little itch, and you're going to hear me whispering in your ear, sweep the edges. Look for dark areas or areas that are too bright. If I can't get rid of them in this composition, then change the angle.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yep.
And the only way you could have fixed this is to change the angle. Shift it a little bit more to the right. You go over to this side of him. And then shoot back this direction. And then all he has to do is tilt his head a little differently and turn it to look at you, just like he is now. And if you're going to do portraits, you have to be the big boss in the sky. What's his name?
Cooper.
Ian?
No, Cooper.
Cooper. You have to say, Cooper, dang nabbit, this isn't going to work. I have to move over here 2 feet to the right. Don't you move. Okay?
Yeah.
And when you get 2 feet to the right, you say, all right, now hold your head straight. Look at me. Yeah, tilt the top of your head a little bit to the left. Okay, that's okay. And then take the shot. And had you shifted to the right and discovered that there was an equally nasty dark spot over here on the left, then you needed to move him elsewhere in the house.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Yep.
And this simply comes with experience. The more of these you do, the better you're going to be. Okay? And that's the point of these critiques, to learn from our mistakes. If you didn't make any mistakes, then you couldn't learn anything.
Absolutely.
Okay? So let's shrink him down. Let's look at this. The eyes, easy peasy. Vivisa.
I'm still seeing bridge for some reason.
Really? You should be seeing my screen.
Oh, now I see it.
I bet it just froze.
Yeah.
Okay, make him full screen. Drop a control point right down here. See how look at the lower right hand corner. See how this area of the eye is wider?
Yeah.
Right here? Put a control point right there, and it may be just as simple as adding structure. Let's see. Oh yeah, and we got to shrink it down. I only want to deal with his eye, okay? And no structure is not going to do it. I could actually, the structure does assist a little there. So we're going to go to shadow adjustments. So we're going to, there it is. That's the one.
Mm.
And we're not going to add much. I just wanted some more detail in his eyes. I want it to be brighter. Now I'm going to copy that. I'm going to put it right over here in his other eye. Now, look in the lower left hand, the lower right hand window. See the red line that divides his eye?
Yes.
It's minor editing, but on the left it's before, on the right it's after. See, we've brightened it up just a bit.
Yep.
And that's it. That's all that you needed to do. And of course, clone that out. We're going to say, okay. And I want you to see the before and after on his eyes, okay?
Yep.
Before, after, just a mild increase of brightness in his eye, with all that was necessary to bring them to life.
Yep.
Okay?
That's great.
But you see how easy that was?
Definitely.
Okay. I'm going to give you a 2.5 on this guy. And the lesson I want you to walk away from this image is
scan the image, yes, police the edges and look for dark holes.
and or bright holes.
Oh yes.
And if you can't
do
anything about the dark hole,
then you need to change your position.
Yes. Change of position, reshoot. You are wise beyond your years. Well done. That really was a good portrait of him, you know.
Thank you.
Okay, let's talk about Mr. Yellow.
I took my lens out for a walk the other day, and I I saw this California poppy, and I went to Wilder Ranch State Park, which is a little bit north of Santa Cruz, just a couple of miles, and it's actually very dry here because of the drought in general. So when I see these beautiful natural bursts of color, I'm very attracted to them, and so and it was kind of windy, so I was challenged by trying to get a nice, crisp, clean shot of a flower in a desolate sort of environment, in focus, and this is what I came up with, and I decided to desaturate the background a little bit, so that I could reiterate the fact that it's very dry and we're in a drought, and yet there's still all this natural beauty that exists even under the extreme circumstances.
Well, exceptionally well done then, because you wanted to tell the story and you achieved it. Okay? So, the color is very, very nice. I like the desaturated background. The flower is sharp. I love the composition of this curving line coming in. Okay? And there is something on that stem.
No.
I don't know what it is. I was thinking, oh, maybe it's a bug. Okay, so remember what we said about policing the edges, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, police the edges of this, please.
Yes, there are some dark holes that are distracting.
A little, not too bad.
Yeah, just a little. Like on the left-hand side, you tend to fall off the image a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Well, when we police the edges, we also look for other things that are distracting, like this guy right here.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up and under Edit, we're going to fill it. And I'm going to use Content Aware with an opacity of 100%. We're going to make that go away. Okay?
Nice.
And somebody has stabbed your flower through the heart with this stick. Okay?
Yeah.
This needs to go away in the worst possible way. Okay? That just needs to go away.
Okay.
You have stabbed it through its steely heart. Okay?
Yep.
So now having taken care of those two minor little problems, I want you to consider a different crop.
Okay.
This would have worked if the stem had curved down like this into the corner over here.
Okay.
I did not play with this earlier, but I am going to now. Oh, quit it. See, even I get ahead of myself sometimes. I would like you to consider something little like that.
Okay.
Now let me make that fit the screen. Oops, stop it. Just that simple. We have changed the entire feel, the way it feels to me on an emotional level. Remember what I said about this curved stem coming down here and going out this side?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. The post-processing is very good. I might want to enhance the fact that the sunlight is shining through these petals, and we've got different levels and stair steps of color concentration. Let's just pop that into Vivisa really, really quick. Put a control point here in the back, and a wee bit of brightness. I want to bring that out more.
Okay.
And then I want to do the same here, right there. Okay, right there, and right here. I'm looking for 3 different levels of color intensity there, okay? And then I'm going to drop another control point here in this dark area, and I'm going to take that back down darker. I want just a hint. There, I like that. Okay, that we're seeing multiple levels and layers of color intensities, okay? Color contrast, if you will. Dark, light, medium, light, okay? See, it's like we're stepping through this. These changes in contrast in the yellows, drawing us right into the image. This one might be a bit much. There, it needed to come down a little, okay?
Mm-hmm.
See this little spot here?
Yeah.
Make him go away, please.
Okay.
How would you do that?
I probably would do content aware.
Yeah, that works. Or the healing tool.
Yeah.
Either one. Do you see what I mean, though, about number 1, policing the edges?
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, starting off with this diagonal from the lower corner coming out. Now, even though the flower is a little bit more towards the right,
mm-hmm.
he's in no danger of falling out of the frame, and our brain knows that because he is anchored down here. We
Gotcha.
know he's coming into the image from the lower left side. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you can place him a little bit more to the right, and it works. The image before was an okay image. From a viewer standpoint, this is much more pleasing. Okay, and you could have achieved this in camera. How?
Would I need the diopter filter?
Perhaps you might have needed that, but more importantly, you needed to relocate and recompose.
Okay.
And go from the landscape mode to the portrait mode, where you flip the camera up 90 degrees.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Every image you take, it's worth taking both in portrait and in landscape.
Okay.
All right? Do you like this image, the way that I have shown you this in the post?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I understand everything you've said about the way you chose to crop it and the reasons behind it.
It's very, very simple post-processing, too. I wouldn't change a thing with what you've done in the background. I mean, this screams desolation. But like I said, police those edges, because I'm going to get you on that every time.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
Look for stair steps of color contrast or monochromatic contrast changes to draw our eyes in. Light, dark, light, lighter, lighter yet.
Okay.
I mean, we enter here and we're sucked right to this dark area, and then we stair step right up into the main part of the flower, and we stay there. My eyes are never taken away from that now. Okay?
Gotcha.
This is a much more powerful image. Well done, well envisioned. I'm proud of your work. I think that you're doing very good. And this was a very good level 4 critique for you. I think that you are just doing wonderful work, and I see great things for you in the future.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
I don't think so. I think I've learned a lot tonight.
Do the post-processing examples, do those help at all?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't want to overwhelm you with this.
No. I didn't even know about Nick tools until I started in this cohort. So I've just been dabbling with it a little bit, and so I'm still learning how to use it properly. But by watching you do the post processing, it's been very helpful.
Okay, I just don't want
to. The ones that you've done with Sherry and this, no, it's not overwhelming at all.
Okay.
No.
And you need to keep in mind that these things I'm sharing with you, these are coming out of Mark's brain. All right? These are how I do my post-processing. This is how I approach my images. Always when I'm behind the camera, I look at the scene first, and then I pre-visualize. Then I set the camera up in the composition, and I sweep the edges of the viewfinder. And I carry a knife. And if I can't sweep the edges by moving them, I can cut them away.
Okay.
All right? I have little hooks that I can reach in. I like the shepherd's hook, the shepherd's staff. I can reach in and I can grab an offending branch and pull it back out of the way and hold it. Okay? There are devices called plamps, P-L-A-M-P. They are manufactured by Wimberley, W-H-I-M-B-E-R-L-E-Y, I believe, but I'm probably wrong in that. They're about $30. You clamp one end of them to your tripod, and then it has this gooseneck thing that's movable and it stays in place, and it has a little tiny clamp plant on the other end that you can put around a plant stock to hold it out of the way, to change the positioning of it, to stop it from doing this in the wind. Okay? If you want to do plant photography like this, and you do seem to have an eye for it, there are some inexpensive tools that are really great that will assist you. But first and foremost, use your longer lens when you're doing macro. Okay?
Yeah.
Get yourself a Canon 500D close-up lens that screws onto the end of your lens. Expect to pay around $100 to $150 for that.
Okay.
2 years ago, they were scarce and you couldn't get them. Canon has recently started making them again.
Okay.
They are worth their weight in gold.
I have some extension tubes for my 50mm lens,
Extension
And
tubes are good.
they help, but this sounds like it would be better.
Yeah, well, you see, if you use the close-up diopter, you can chase butterflies around and use your autofocus. You
Mm,
can't do that with an extension tube.
gotcha.
There's no light loss through the 500D.
Okay.
Every extension tube, there is a significant light loss passing through it.
Oh, good to know.
Okay. Yes, significant.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, wow, well done.
Great.
Thank you for all of the hard work that you put into this, and thank the group for coming and supporting you in this.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
I will bid you adieu and stop the broadcast.